This is the Ollantaytambo ruins in Peru. And according to the mainstream, these massive giant staircases and steps were built by the Inca. And they are terraces for agriculture, growing crops and stuff. But based on the research I've been doing, it seems like the Inca found these giant steps here and built a city above them and built temples and structures around these steps. So what I think these are probably Nephilim giant steps or staircases, or they are a bleacher or stadium system for the Nephilim giants. So who knows what the Nephilim were watching, and if these are steps, what do they lead to? Like, what's up here? What was up here before the city was there? Who knows? Now, there are smaller staircases. I'll show you some photos in between these. And back in the day before the flood, I'm assuming there were humans living amongst the Nephilim. They were probably their slaves or whatever. And they built these massive staircases or bleachers so they can watch the entertainment. Now, I got no problems with saying that the Inca turned these huge Nephilim staircases into farming areas. I got no problems with saying that. It's very logical. It makes sense. Look, it's flat open field. Throw some dirt on it. Throw some seed. Grow some crops right there. And you can access it through these other smaller human staircases. But how did they build this with no technology? How did they get these to be flat like that? How did they flatten the rock down like that? And this is not even the worst part. So it's like, oh, they just had a lot of time, had a lot of people, they were able to pull it off. But hold on, let me show you something else. What about stuff like this? We have flat sides and perfectly jointed blocks together. And you have like sharp angles and stuff. How do they do this with no technology? How do they pull that off? This is a huge stone. How do they move this in place? We know the mainstream lies about virtually everything. And so their explanation as to how the Inca pulled this off is, first, they carved a stone into large blocks using only primitive tools. Then they transported the blocks up to the mountain using a system of pulleys and ropes. Vague. What's the system? What is the contraption that they use with pulleys and ropes to get all those rocks up there? Vague. I need more information than that. Finally, they fit the blocks together using a technique called ashlar, in which each block is cut to interlock with the ones around it. How did they cut the rocks? How did they cut? They're saying cut. They're saying cut. How did they get the rocks to look perfect? That Tetris perfect look. How did they do this? How did they lift these? Was it just a bunch of dudes that lift this up and put those into place like that? How did they cut them to be square? How did they cut them to be square like that? No technology? I believe that they may have had abilities back then. Earth bending, sound abilities, using sound to shape things, maybe even laser technology. Like that Avatar stuff, earth, fire bending, earth bending, and water bending. I think, what do you think they get those ideas from? They get it from probably reality. Who knows what humans were able to do back then? Who knows? I don't know about you, but that looks like a bleacher situation. This looks like a stadium for Nephilim giants. And that giant Nephilim stuff, that's all biblical stuff, man. And they're trying to hide the fact that giants existed because it points to the Bible. It points to the creation account where the fallen angels, the 200 watchers came down and spent quality time with the human ladies and created giants, Nephilim giants and titans. And this, to me, seems like this is for some giant folks. These look like staircases or a bleacher auditorium system for Nephilim. And they've certainly found giant footprints around the world. This is in South Africa, but giants did exist. I made other videos about that. You can go check them out. See that? That's a giant footprint. Oh, they carved that. They just carved it. Why? Why? Why would they carve that? What's the point of carving that? That's a giant Nephilim footprint. And all this stuff up here. Like, look at this. This is like a smooth wall. And all those door window opening areas way up top where my finger is not really pointing at. But how'd they move those stones? How'd they do that? Is this giants? Is this Nephilim? Or do they have a system of pulleys and ropes? Come on, man. Explain that. The point of this video is to get you to open your eyes and question the mainstream and doubt the information that they're telling you. Because this right here looks suspiciously Nephilim-like, okay? And they don't want you to know that giants and Nephilim exist or existed because it will point straight to the Bible. And the Bible obviously points to God, and God being Jesus Christ. And they don't want you to know that Jesus Christ is Lord. Jesus Christ is Lord. And that's why they hide all this biblical stuff. That's why they hide the fact that the earth is flat, because it all points to Jesus. Okay? So that's the whole point of this. Question the mainstream. Question the matrix. They're trying to trick you. They want you to think that Christianity is a religion, when in fact, it's actually the truth.